how can I say this? I have commissions to work on, but I've been stuck in like an art block for quite a while now, and I'm trying to get out of this so I can, actually work on those commissions.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, the commissioners are really patient. Thank God.
Mhm.
But I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad
Yeah,
about it. So I really need to work on that and then work on those commissions.
I know
And
exactly how you
honestly,
feel.
after all that, I don't know if I'll feel confident enough to open commissions again.
Oh no.
I
I actually, Matt, I just went through the exact same experience, like literally
ah
to the tiniest detail. The way what I'm doing is I mean it's a little different for you because you were in an art block. I was just having procrastination problems.
okay.
Um,
See,
but what I did was I reopened commissions, but I'm only doing very simple sketch commissions, and I'm only doing them for $5. So I'm letting myself get back in the groove on very, very low stakes commissions. And then once I feel confident that I'm like kind of back on my game, I'm going to reopen them just properly.
I guess that could work. Yeah, that's something you should keep in mind.
You can do the same thing by just doing like requests, but it's good to have like a little bit of money on the line.
The thing with requests is that if I accept one, a lot of people would want one too.
Yeah, but you
It's
can just
not the
reject
first.
the
It's
rest.
not the first time that happened to me.
Yeah,
I
you
remember
pick and choose.
accepting one friend's request, and then all of a sudden, all of the others on the Discord asked me the same, their requests. So it was a
See,
complete mess.
whenever I do requests, I always make it very clear that like if I do your request, it's because I thought it was a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
and if I don't, it just means I didn't want to do it. Like I have no obligation to do a request. You're just asking me to draw something, and then if I feel like it, I will.
Exactly. If it's a great idea, I'll do it. Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. But sometimes I remember this one request on Newgrounds. Yeah, on Newgrounds, where this guy was asking me to draw some Bakugan dragon porn, and I'm like,
I
what the fuck are you asking me, bro?
mean, you did it.
That's a new one for me.
I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it. Are you crazy? I don't know shit about Bakugan. So yeah,
I
uh,
played Bakugan and
yeah.
I don't know shit
Request.
about it.
You played it? Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
was the like the tween age to like think Bakugan was cool. I was like, whoa, a ball that transforms into a dragon after it goes onto a piece of metal card. This is badass. And then
I saw
On-
someone.
hmm
I saw
yeah.
someone on the server that had like was doing a request. I think for a friend or something, and it was beyond just like a request. The motherfucker was asking for revisions
like
on a
Revisions?
request. Like, can you fix this? Can you change that? It's like, dude, I'm
That's
doing
kind
it
of
for free.
this is a great request, but can you change some things real quick? It's like what?
that's kind of nasty. What the fuck?
It is.
Imagine you ask your artist friend like draw something for you for free because you're his friend, and then
Yeah.
you go to another artist like be like, hey, can you fix my friend's drawing, please?
That is fucked up.
That's kind of bullshit, bro.
Then no, that's not what happened. I meant like they did the drawing and then the friend was like asking for like fixes and changes to the drawing. They didn't go to like a different artist. They were just like going back to the same person and asking for them like fix shit.
That is
That's still kind of fucked
that is
up.
even worse, if anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't trust the person that did this art for free, so I'm gonna give it to you instead.
yeah, that's kind of crap. Not gonna
Holy
lie.
moly, Tom! I I've never had any like shitty experiences like that. I mean, the worst thing you'll get is like someone's like, "Oh, draw my art," and I'll draw yours, and I do that, and then it's like, well, they don't draw my art,
Mhm.
like they don't do it, and it's like, okay, whatever. At
Yeah.
least I got some practice in.
The worst I've gotten was I mean I've definitely had experiences like that with requests where like I draw something for someone and then they get really like specific about like oh well I kind of wanted it to be like this and this and it's like you should be happy you got anything in the first place, man. Like I'm not gonna go back and do revisions for you.
hmm
But I've also just gotten. I remember this was mostly when I was first starting commissions, like when I was pretty young on like Steven Universe and Mano. I had a couple of times where I talked about this a few times. I got really stiff when I was doing commissions. All my art like lost all of its life because I was
Yeah.
trying way too hard. It looked nothing like my usual art style, and I deliver it, and I'm thinking like it looks. I did really good. Like I made it really clean, but it wasn't. It wasn't good. It wasn't clean. It was just like finished in the most technical sense, as in I did line art and things like that. And
Mhm.
I delivered it, and the only response the person had was thanks, and then I just never heard from them again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that was the moment where I was like, I gotta just like go with the flow and do my normal art style. I can't be trying so hard when I do commissions.
Yeah, that's the thing. it's hard. It's hard to be consistent sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to commissions, because so many people ask you to draw so many different things, and they
Yeah,
give you reference from so many different artists or art style, whatever. It's
yeah.
hard to be consistent.
Well, yeah, it's this weird thing where sometimes you like forget what your art style is while you're drawing. You're like
Exactly.
you're emulating the drawing you got, and it's really hard to get in the mindset of I'm taking this design and mutating it into my art style. That's why when I draw
Yeah.
characters, I draw them like 100 times because I'm trying to figure out how they work. So when I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing a
That
commission where I have to draw a character once and only once, it's like shit.
I can totally understand that. I remember discovering this character that I like to draw, and when I first drew her, it looked terrible. But now
Hmm.
when I drew this character again, I actually like how it looks like, because
Yeah, yeah,
it's style, it's style. I love it,
yeah.
and
Like,
it's the character I like.
let me send in the chat the
Hmm.
first like Isabel I drew,
Mm-hmm.
just compared to like the kind of stuff I do of her today, and maybe Spark, you can add this in like in the fucking video
I'll
or
never
something.
will. I never do it.
Uh,
Fuck you. No, but like yeah, to like go in on that, like I think that's a big thing that not a lot of like starting out artists like recognize or they realize, especially with someone like Tom, because like I'll say this much: Tom does draw fast, but if you try to like get Tom to do something that's a little bit out of his like scope as far as like things he's done, repetitively,
mm,
where it's not like a trained muscle memory, it does tend to take Tom a bit of time to like rework
Hmm.
characters, like you said before,
of
and that's
course.
just like a normal ass art thing. Like I think everyone has like the ability to get good at drawing a very specific character and like be able to like speed run them because like you've just drawn them so many times that it's just become like a part of your nature. Like you just know how to draw them. And then the moment like someone's like, "But can you draw this character?" It's like it becomes a whole like other ordeal where it's like, "Oh shit, now I have to
Hmm.
pay attention to the details because the details I never pay attention with like something like Isabel
Yeah.
or this character or my OC because I already know all the details in the back of my head. Like I don't even need a ref sheet because I've drawn them so many times."
There's
Yeah,
also this
that's.
weird thing that happens with me sometimes where sometimes I'll look at a character and it'll just click. Like instantly I'll be like, I know exactly what this character should look like in my style. Executing it might still be like hard, but for some reason I can just see like how this character would crunch down into a more simplified cartoony look because I can see like
Mm,
this and this is what makes them like look unique and I can just do that in this style.
Mm-hmm.
But other characters, I'll like be staring at them for like hours. Like, what the fuck do I do with this? Like, how do I adapt this into like a different style? And that can be really hard with commissions because technically you kind of compartmentalize that as not time you're working on the commission. That's just your I'm just figuring it out. But really, that's time you're spending that you could be spending doing the work. So if you
Mm-hmm.
spend like 3 hours trying to figure out, okay, what pose, what style, how do I draw this character, what elements are important, but then it only takes you 20 minutes to do the art, you might think, oh, well, I got paid, I don't know, say $20. I got paid $20 for 20 minutes worth of work. That's great. But really, you got paid $20 for 3.5 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
that is true. Yeah.
And it's kind of a dangerous thing because it's like you might it's the biggest drain on productivity is the time you spend thinking about things when you're not actually working on them.
That's the same thing with like just normal like the workflow in general, whether it's like art or just like something else bigger,
Hmm.
like machining, for example. Like if you wanted me to machine you one part, I'm not gonna make a return on investment, because not only do I have to do the
Yeah.
research as well as like the blueprint design for that one piece of thing you want me to make. It's like it's not. It could be so complicated in how to make it that's not an easily like repeatable process. So now it's taking money out of my pocket to make you this grandiose big thing that I'm only gonna make one of, and I probably won't be able to like mass produce it. But like if it's just some weird cheap
Yeah.
plastic thing,
Probably wouldn't even have the right to mass produce it.
yeah. But if it was just like some weird cheap plastic thing that's like supposed to go at the end of like a little bobbit or whatever the fuck, and you need like 2,000 of them because you keep selling them to people, it's like, well, yeah,
Hmm.
I'd make bank off of that because you're a repeat customer who's always selling like these little pieces of plastic to like other people,
Hmm.
and so that's where you get the bang from your buck. And it's like you can kind of have the same thing with art, especially if you're like really good at sketching. But even then, art has always and forever will be the blueprint design like aspect when it comes to like making money, where it's like you have to just put in the time to make literally something from nothing. Like there's no like if ands or buts about it. Like if someone came at you with like an already drawn like piece of art and you're like, can you please just do the coloring and like rendering for this, I think that would be a different story. But even then, I don't know many artists that would even like that as like a concept, where it's like, oh, I don't have to do the line art, or I don't have to do like the sketching phase. You just have this already, and now I just have
No,
to
there's a
render
lot
it.
of artists that do that. Especially, I mean, that's like a whole job, is like being a
Yeah,
colorist
Yeah.
or a
that is
finisher
a
and things
job.
like that.
Hmm.
That's very common. I actually see that a lot. Someone did that with one of my. I did a sketch commission for someone,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I went on their account later, I saw that they had reposted my sketch commission, but colored by someone else that they commissioned.
Huh. Well, I guess there is stuff like
Is
that
that
out there.
Yeah,
is that a good thing?
I
Do you
was like,
consider do you consider this a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
well,
Like the fact that they commissioned
I mean,
someone else to color it.
well, to be fair, I wouldn't have been able to do it as well as the person they had commissioned. But actually, I can't remember what it was. If they commissioned someone else, or if they colored it on their own, or something like. I've definitely seen that before though, like where they commissioned someone to color a piece that they got from someone else.
Hmm.
I get it if they're just like this person's skill set isn't like, because I'm not very good at coloring or rendering, so I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess so. If you want to see the thing I drew but rendered, you should probably go to someone else.
I'm always
Um,
curious about your guys'
it's weird when
outlook.
they don't like tell you though.
Yeah, I'm curious about your guys' outlook on that, and just in general, because I don't know how most artists feel about that. But it's like, do you think that when you make art for someone, that the ownership of the art immediately goes to that person because they paid for it? Or is the onus like, I made this art, so I do own it, but they get to see it first, and if they do want it to be shared with everyone else, then that's of their own like ability and opinions. Like that's something they can do, but like
My
beyond that, it's not
Hmm.
their art, right?
my opinion has typically been that it kind of belongs to both you and the client. You and the client can both do whatever you like with it. You know, like everyone who does commissions post their commissions on their account,
Mm-hmm.
or like sometimes they'll even like post it on like a Patreon or something, and that's totally like fine. Um, but also the person who commissioned it can also share it around or do things with it. The biggest thing is that they should just always be crediting you. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. If say I drew a sketch for someone and they had someone else color it, I would be pretty annoyed if they didn't say like original by Tommy Owo. If
Mm-hmm.
they were just like, here's the like, colored version made by this other artist. It's like, well, yeah, but I made the original thing. I was also involved in the creation of that
Yeah,
piece. So why am
That
I
is
not
true.
being credited?
that would be annoying.
Yeah,
Always credit. I think that's
Yeah,
like something that.
credit is the
yeah.
most important thing
Always
because
credit
that's
and
your advertising.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, I
stuff.
think it gets ingrained in like us as youths, especially when it comes to like plagiarism and shit like that. I don't think a lot of people understand that plagiarism extends to the art world, and like by that very nature, where it's like if you don't credit the artist, that's akin to, I would say, plagiarism, where it's like you're not showing like where the originator of this art even begins with.
Mhm.
And when you do that, it's not like it belittles the art. It's more like, well, now the people seeing this for the first time don't understand like the context of it
Yeah.
or who made it. Like, could you
Well, that's
imagine?
just the main thing is that they
Yeah.
don't know who made it. It's like, well, maybe they like that drawing, but they want to see like the people who worked on it in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would say a lot of art, like not to degrade people who do those commissions that do like coloring and stuff, but I feel like the core of what people will like about most drawings is things like the facial expression, the pose, the anatomy, and
Yeah.
then the rendering is just what brings that all to life. It lets that like be stronger. But if the base sketch isn't good enough, no amount of rendering is going to matter on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, the person, both of the people, the renderer and the original sketcher, should be credited very clearly so that a person looking at it can either go, oh, I need this thing colored, so I'm going to go contact the colorist. Or I really like the way this is built, so I'm going to go contact the sketcher, or whatever it is. It's just credit is so important in the art world because it's like that's your advertising. That's how people find out who you are.
Thankfully, a lot of people are understandable about that, and
Hmm.
when they
Yeah,
see
well,
some arts, when they see some art that has no name at all, they will
mm,
usually ask for source.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
that's great. There's always that.
That reminds me
Uh,
of there's a
mhm.
certain someone on this server that they said they hated it when artists signed their work and that they would never sign their own work.
Mm.
And it was just the
Why?
most baffling thing I've ever heard. It was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking
They were
about?
like, it's annoying because I can find, and they were like, no, it doesn't matter to finding people because I can always, even when it's not signed, I can just find them in 5 minutes anyway. It's like,
Brother,
yeah,
it's because of people like him that some artists put big watermark transparent on the drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I do,
What?
do hate when it's a giant watermark that like ruins the picture.
It kind of ruins the picture, but you have to understand they probably got, you know, into troubles of not crediting or,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just not being credited at all. So
yeah,
I
it's
can
like
understand. It's infuriating, but I can
well, it
understand
was
that.
what was weird is that he was an artist. He was like, I will never sign my work. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, but what about when people like repost it and you want to find who like made the original post? Oh, well, I can just like reverse Google image search or all these other things. And it's like,
Oh
yeah, but
yeah, sure.
wouldn't it be a lot easier to just look at the name and then go on Twitter and type it in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not everything can be found through, reverse
Most
engineering and all
things
that.
can. If you've ever actually tried to use reverse
Yeah,
image
it's a pain
search,
in
it's
the
fucking
ass.
terrible.
Especially if people crop an image, then it's like impossible to reverse image
Hmm.
search it
Exactly.
unless you have the
It's
exact
impossible.
same image.
It actually used to work really good, but then Shutterstock sued Google for some reason,
Hmm.
and they fucking nerfed it.
Honestly, speaking of reverse engineering and all that, how did it feel when you looked up your name on your username on Google and the first thing you find on Google Images is actually your drawing?
Let me
Did it
make
ever
sure
happen
that's
to
still
you?
the case. Yeah, when I type in Tommy OO, what's really strange is that the first thing that comes up is my profile picture on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
The
makes
second
sense.
thing that comes up is a random Kermit the Frog picture. The third thing that comes up is an Isabel drawing I did, and then the rest of them are like basically not related to me or like very tangentially related to me. Like for example, one of the ones that comes up is I'll send it in the chat real quick. It's my Teespring shirt,
Oh, really?
Hell yeah, baby!
called Forbidden Love, the myth of consensual sex.
It's a good shirt. It's a good shirt. I don't know why the hell we haven't been linking your merchandise in our podcast, but we probably should, Tom.
Maybe. Well, my merchandise is like I only have like two shirts, and it's not like related. Well, I have three shirts, including Forbidden Love.
Mm-hmm. They're good shirts. I like your tank tops.
Thank
I
you.
I have to say that for me it feels kind of weird because I remember like I would say a few years ago, I looked up my name and all I could find was like, you know, just some random pictures,
Mhm.
nothing related to me. And now when I do it, all I could find is my drawings. And it feels, I don't know, it feels like I did something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's this crazy thing where it's like it's not only like you draw good art and therefore it shows up more. It's also like one of these like the kind of building things where it's like you have so much art that they have no choice but to display it, right? Where it's like you are the majority. Like when someone looks up like Matthew, your name, it's like
Mhm.
yeah. Of course, this is Matthew's art. It's like, go hot damn. It's the same thing with this fucking podcast I've noticed because like it's not that it's a unique name for a podcast. It's just like in the grand scheme of things, like no one's posting like an art thing with like our titles. So the moment you look up our podcast on YouTube, it's like it's instantaneous that you
Yeah.
see like fucking our 7 videos that are currently like uploaded right now. It's just like
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. It's a nice feeling because it's like yeah, I've done like this much work and it's just gonna keep on piling up. You just have to see
What's
it.
weird is I just searched the other version of my username with an I, Tommy Tomioowo. When you
Yeah.
do that, none of my Twitter posts come up, even though that's my Twitter username.
Hmm.
But a bunch of like fucking my Newgrounds posts come up, and then a bunch of smut and smock like thumbnails.
That's great.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, because it's all like algorithm based, right? So it's not based on what the words are, but it's what people are clicking when they look up the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I guess no
oh,
one's Googling my name to
someone,
find my shit. They're going on
someone,
like
yeah,
E61 and typing it in.
yeah, someone typed in human knuckles and they clicked on this picture of this red echidna. So I guess this is what human knuckles are.
Yeah.
Anyone down to do some cool Google researching? You should look up what human. This is just good for art in general because you need like reference material if you ever want to draw knuckles. Just look up cool
It's
human
really
knuckles
funny.
or knuckles. You can also just
Cool
look up
human
knuckles and
knuckles.
you'll
Hold
have
on.
like good
I will
art
do it live.
reference for knuckles.
I will do it live. Hold on. Cool human
It's
knuckles.
so funny.
Hmm.
I think we'll do it on purpose too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Oh,
like there's a lot of people who probably drew human knuckles just on purpose because they're like, haha, I'm gonna destroy the Google algorithm even
Yeah.
more.
It's
there
great.
are a lot of good. There are a lot of good design actually.
Yeah. There you go.
Well,
Hmm.
but what's funny is just that it's like really hard to look up like an actual
Like
knuckles
knuckles.
as in on a hand.
Yeah. Like for anatomy.
What do you? I don't understand. What do you mean by that?
You know what a knuckle is?
Yeah, knuckles. Yeah, the echidna.
Fuck you.
He's fucking with us, Tom. Our guest is
I'm gonna
fucking
kill
with
I
you.
us.
you wait. You're talking about knuckles, right?
I'm gonna blacklist you.
Wait, hold on. What are we talking about then?
Matthew's fucking with us. No, there's also knuckles like on your hand.
Oh, okay. Well,
And when you
I
type in
guess.
You
human
know,
knuckles, they don't show up. All you get is the echidna.
Anyway, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's a great. That's great. Yeah.
Speaking of human
I
echidnas,
forgot that knuckles
Matthew.
exist.
Yeah. Yeah, on your
Mhm.
arm. Speaking of human animals, Matthew, I wanted to talk about your cool profile picture, because it's like a ram type esque character,
All right.
correct?
All right. This specific one was drawn by a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do have a ram character that has like shadowed eye with white hair and big ram horns and all that. The only reason I create this character is because I wanted a character that represent me, a persona, basically. And I had one before this one. But uh, the one before this one was white, and I didn't like it because I am not white. So I changed it to this one. That's the only reason why he exists.
Which appears to also be white.
But
Okay,
Check it
I
out.
I
Can you
should
zoom in on
probably I
that?
should probably well,
hmm.
this one's a sketch. Of course, it's all gonna be all white, but no, he's not white. Or
But what I want to know is
Those-
why is there no hot gay sex of this ram goat character with horns?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Well,
sellout.
technically, that is true. Honestly, that's a good question. I should probably work on that.
Yeah, I want to
And
see the
some
full
people are
ass
already gay.
man.
Oh fuck!
Give
The
me some reference
closest
material.
the closest I got is this thing. That's the closest. Actually, I can post a few more
Oh, that's
if
hot.
I got some. Ah, that's hot.
I need
But
that
yeah, these are
shirt.
the
Ah,
best.
that's hot.
These
That's
are the
hot.
best
We're
one I
looking
got
at
so
a
far.
cute goat man with an emotional support bottom shirt. Great.
Yeah,
Is he
these are the best
canonically
one I
gay?
have.
Look at with
Well,
the
he's basically bisexual like me.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. So yeah.
You should come
I
to the next
also
artist
I forgot
meetup.
his
That'd be cool. Totally not ulterior
artist meetup.
motives.
Artist meetup.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
artist
Hold on.
meetups.
How the
Tell me.
fuck have you been on this server and not heard us talk about how we do the meetups?
Like once this is even a
Well,
joke. This is just
explain
once
to
a year
me
thing
then.
we do.
Well,
Uh huh.
No, what
I
did
didn't
you
hear what you
say?
said. What?
Yeah.
Sorry. What did you say?
Matthew. Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
Eartha
I'm here.
Matthew.
Sorry.
Hello. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
Sorry.
I didn't I thought you said something. I was trying to figure out what you said. You started talking and then I interrupted you.
Yeah. Sorry. Explain to me what it is then.
Okay.
It's it's what it sounds like. We rent an Airbnb somewhere. Uh Usually in the first one was in Connecticut, the next one is going to be in Virginia. And then we just get a bunch of artists from horny artists together in one place and we fucking hang out and draw and shit and go out on the town.
We don't fucking, but we do be drawing art and
We
eat
do
good
fuck.
food. I wish. No,
It
I
is
don't wish.
required.
No, I don't. I don't know. I'm a bit iffy on that. I'm a bit iffy on that, Tom. Because like, I don't want people. I want people to have a good time, but if people do want to fuck, that's on them. I don't. That's not what I'm there for. I just want to draw art.
But
Yeah.
it is
Honestly.
required.
It's okay.
Yeah. If I go to an
Bastard.
artist meetup, I expect to draw and draw only. No, I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna fuck.
Yeah, I mean, we
But
also like go out and do shit. Like we'll go to like a restaurant or whatever. We were at a convention for the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I should also mention the artist meetup. It's not like a one day. We're there for 5 hours. It was like
Week long
a little
thing.
vacation. We were there for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's nice. Okay.
Prepaid.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the problem is it's probably because I am French that I'm never there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah. You need to get
Mhm.
like a visa and a
So I do
passport.
not
Yeah,
live
the
near
French.
those
We
regions.
do have a no French allowed policy.
Yeah, no French allowed,
Well,
and no girls allowed. We keep the signs
I
outside
guess
the
I am
artist
out
meetup.
of the podcast. It's over for me.
No, the French are allowed on the podcast. We just don't want them in the same
Ah,
room with us.
Yeah, because of the smell.
ah. I see. I understand.
There's a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, all the fumes. You're coughing up a storm because of all the cigarettes you smoke.
Shut up.
It's true. That's just lore.
80% of your diet.
I don't
Mhm.
even smoke, bro. I don't even smoke. I
And
drink
you
though.
call yourself French?
Jesus
That's
Christ.
okay. Okay, it's kind of hard to explain. I am French, but I was never born in France.
Wait, hold on. We have a fake French on the podcast. What was the whole point? That was the whole point of the interview.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Let me explain. I live on a tropical island far away from France that is like next to a free
Oh, is it one of the
that
places
is
that's like still technically owned by France?
exactly. It's called Réunion Island and it's a French department. I live there. I was born there. I live there. So that makes me French. But I was never born in France.
This explains everything.
So what
This
you're
is why
saying is you have
you're
an
not
offshore
chain
bank account?
smoker.
What do you mean by
What you're
that?
saying is that your country houses offshore bank accounts.
Basically, yeah.
Not all offshore
So
bank
tell me,
accounts hoard illegal money, Tom.
just most?
Just most.
But yeah, you can call me fake French. I guess that makes sense technically. But yeah.
Well, I was calling you fake French because you don't smoke.
I was calling you fake French
Well,
because you don't live in America.
how does that make
That doesn't-
sense?
Because we
That's
invented French
schizophrenic.
fries.
Oh
Okay,
my-
you know what? Here's actually a good question. This is
uh,
actually a good hypothetical. Who would you consider more French? You or people who live in the country that you live in? Country, quote unquote. Or someone from Quebec?
Oh God, not the Quebecians.
oh, that's a tough. Well, technically, again,
Legally, you're more French
legally
because you
speaking,
are a citizen.
okay. Well, legally speaking, it should be us. It should be us that is
Yes.
more French. But you
But, like,
know,
culturally.
French Canadian. I only hate the French Canadians for one reason and one reason only. Can I say his name on the podcast? Okay.
We'll
Sure.
bleep it out.
Who?
Okay. XQC. Fuck you, XQC.
Oh, I'm not bleeping that
We're
out.
not bleeping that out.
Yeah, fuck XQC. That's
Okay,
our
great.
stance on the
That's all I say.
podcast.
True, true.
Dude, the
Fuck
best
Canadians in
moment
general.
I've
Too
ever
mad? Fuck him. Right? I think we can all be in
Wait, he
agreement
was
on
French
that.
Canadian?
Yeah.
the best moment I ever witnessed on the internet was fucking Moist Critical defeating XQC in 6 moves.
Oh yeah.
After XQC had been training with Hikaru Nakamura, one of like the top 2 chess players of all time, for months.
Oh
He
my
loses to a
god.
scholar's mate.
Yeah. That's like the
It's
basic
so
vicious
fucking
move in the
good.
world.
My cock is throbbing. Throbbing.
I remember when the chess tournament just like cuts to his fucking voice and they're like, oh,
Yes, they unmute him for a second, and then he
Yeah.
starts like fucking swearing and talking about his cock.
Yeah.
And they just remute him. Okay, so and Hikaru is just in stunned fucking silence.
That's
Oh
literally
no,
getting
that's
bottomed
really
by Moist
embarrassing.
Critical.
It's so funny.
Classic.
It's
Yeah, baby.
sometimes you do have those embarrassing moments. That reminds me of the classic Ninja at New York moment. I think it was New
Yes.
York.
Not
Yeah.
seeing enough. Yeah, it was New Year's. Not
Yeah.
seeing enough movement. We need to see more
I'm not seeing enough
movement.
movement, guys.
They're all like packed like sardines.
It's cold. It's raining. It's fucking New Year's Eve. They're all
Oh,
packed in. Come on,
for
guys.
once,
Not seeing enough movement.
for once in my life, I felt bad for him. Like, come on. That was so embarrassing. Yeah, he's doing great now. Probably, I don't know.
Isn't that fucked up? How like because of the
Mhm.
internet, you can like you can go from being a nobody to a celebrity to a washed up celebrity in a matter of like 2 years.
Yeah, like a year. Oh my god.
Yeah,
It's
so
Like
basically,
Ninja,
this.
Ninja went through that whole arc like within I think like 2 maybe 3 years. He went from just some random guy with a fucking troll face T-shirt to this massively famous multimillionaire to someone no one knows about
with a
again.
book that says "Get Good."
Who sells a YouTube course now because
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Everyone, whenever they like run out of their grift, they start trying to teach other people how to do the grift.
Yeah.
That's what happened with
I-
Ninja. It's like he couldn't do YouTube no more because no one cared. So he was like, okay, I guess I'll sell a course on how to do YouTube.
Not to mention the fact that like Ninja is like he's such a weird outlier because like he became famous because Fortnite became famous. Like, does that make sense? Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
he was a coattail rider technically, and then the moment Fortnite kind of started to like equilibrium, and people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna move on to another game." That's also when his like fandom kind of started to like die down
Yeah.
like a lot, and
Well, it's
Yeah.
weird. Like most YouTubers would pivot to a different game or like multiple games. You know, like look at how many. There are so many
yeah,
like Let's Play channels that were birthed from like single series channels. Like how PewDiePie's a great example. He got big off of Amnesia and Slenderman, but like he moved on to just doing other shit that wasn't that.
that's the problem with coattail
You
riders,
know,
Tom. It's they want to
mhm.
stay on the coat, like, and
so
the reason PewDiePie.
Tobuscus died out because he fucking played Happy Wheels for 10
Yeah,
years.
until he died and shriveled up like a raisin. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the big thing. I think a lot of artists could also relate to this, where it's like, yeah, you can be known as the guy that only draws Daisy porn and Daisy getting fucked in the ass, but it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, unless it's something that you genuinely like care about, and you're like, I only want to draw Daisy. That's fucking great, fine, do it. But like, if you want to like grow and have like variety, like that's always what's gonna happen. Is even though in the short term you're not gonna see it because people will drop off and be like, I don't want to look at your OCs, or I don't want to look at anything but Daisy porn.
Mhm.
So bye, guy. It's like, yeah, that'll happen, but like, it's better than just like constantly making the same thing day in and day out and then seeing it slowly decline. At least when you
Well,
change it
yeah,
up,
I guess
you're gonna get a new
that's
spike.
the thing. That's the difference between a coattail rider and just a person who is actually passionate about the thing.
Hmm.
Um, so like a
Yeah,
great example would be like there are a lot of single game YouTubers where the reason they're talking about the game isn't just because this is a popular thing in the algorithm, it's because they genuinely care about the game. So a couple of great examples would be like what is it? His name's Strider7X. He's the guy who does all the videos about Paper Mario, where he's like,
oh yeah,
if
yeah.
you hit this block for
Hmm.
436 years, it crashes the game.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
classic video. I love this
yeah.
video.
And another example would be like Deltarune YouTubers that spend hours talking about like their theories about the story and where they think it's going. It's like those videos get decent views, but like they're clearly doing it because they're so into
Yeah,
the topic and they love dissecting this game that they love,
and that's a.
as opposed to Ninja, who is just a normal street like personality streamer
Hmm.
who just happened to be playing Fortnite.
Yeah, that's the problem though. I think like not a
Yeah.
lot of people realize that, where these people like you're talking about, Tom, are the outliers, where it's like they're so passionate that they've become like
Hmm.
like these perfectionists in their field, right? It's the same thing with like
Yeah,
a biologist or just like any type of scientist who's just like studying one very specific like minutia of
yeah,
like the
yeah.
body. Like, if you're really gonna go hard into something like that, then you need to like go full ass, where it's like you know just about everything, like how the cascading effects of this one thing can like totally affect everything else. And that's what those people are, is they're the outliers because they're so passionate about the very specific thing. Well, yeah, a ninja is not passionate about Fortnite. It's more like
Yeah.
it's his coping mechanism, because that's the thing that brought him success. So it's like, well, why can't it bring me success again? It's like, that's just not how life works. Like, maybe you'll
That's
get lucky, but like, it's not, lightning doesn't strike twice in the same area unless you have ridiculous odds on your side.
mhm. That's why I'm
Mm.
curious about where someone like Mr. Beast is going to go in the next like 5-10 years, because it's like he clearly doesn't have, or at least based on what he has talked about, uh, he has no passion for YouTube or content creation in particular. He has a passion for making money off of it. You know, he's like, I have turned it into a business. I follow the algorithm and I do exactly what that says to do, and I do it in a very specific way. And it's like I feel like that's gotta dry up at some point and just like stop working.
Ye- well,
Everything ends up being dried up in
hmm,
the
Yeah.
end.
I'll say this much: like, you guys know about this, the whole like Rhett and Link thing. Like, I know that's kind of old news now. Um,
That's an old, yeah, that's an old thing, yeah.
where they're
What
like,
was the news?
yes,
They're the React brothers, right?
well,
No.
no, it's not
No.
necessarily that. So what their plans are is like they want to reinvest all the money that they've been making into like an insane project that's gonna take them a lot of time to do, and like they've been thinking
That's
about it for a
Oh,
cool.
long time. So instead of just like, coattail riding, which they're not really coattail riding because they're always trying to do new stuff, but the format's the same, right? They're trying to like
Yeah.
make like a bigger, grandiose production that they might not see like a return on investment on, and
Yeah.
much like a movie, right? So it's like those are like the kind of like high risks, like high rewards types of deals we're kind of talking
Hmm.
about now, where even with Mr. Beast like doing like insane or like bigger grandiose scales, he knows it's going to pay off just because of the nature of like his
Well,
viewership, right?
usually not even that. It's already paid off because of a sponsor who paid him
Hmm.
like fucking $3 million to do it.
Yeah. And so like,
Before he's even struck ground, he already knows he's gonna make a profit.
yeah, and so it's like, I think what might happen with like the Mr. Beasts of the world or like the Rhett and Links of the world. It's like eventually it becomes like one of two things where it's like you're like Disney and you just keep on producing kind of the same schlock and hope that people keep eating it up, which they tend to do because like their fan bases are the majority, right? So the majority will always like tend to stick with the same stuff usually, unless something crazy happens.
Well, that's not. See, that's what's fucked up with Disney. It's that they don't keep the same people don't keep eating up the same shit over and over. That's why they're starting to have trouble. The thing that really works is if we can have the series go for long enough, if we can make it like 20 years long, it doesn't matter if we finally start tiring people out because we'll just have the next generation. It's like sure, the adults won't like it, but their kids will
Yeah,
because they
well,
haven't seen it yet.
yeah, it's the Star Wars effect, right? It's the
Yes.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with their whole live action stuff. Like when I say like the majority, I mean like the entirety of the world, right? Because that's what Disney's
Hmm.
working on a grander scale. So when I say the majority, what I'm really saying, especially for something like Disney, it's like they're going for like the Chinese audience. Like the Chinese audience loves live
Hmm.
action shit for whatever fuck all reason, and it's like okay, so if we just keep on honing in on that, we'll get like way more monies. And it's the same thing
Hmm.
where it's like with Star Wars, where you're a kid coming into the big franchise for the first time, whether it's the prequels or the new fucking 3 movies after that, it's like you can still do the same shit. Like it can be half-assed, or you could invest very little money into it because like the IP alone is what's gonna make not only the people who are original
Yeah.
fans go in and see it just to see it, but also bring their kids and be like, now my kid can be a part of the fandom too. And then the kid is like, oh, so this is Star Wars, and they see the first three, like not the first three
Yeah.
movies, but like the prequels, and they're like, oh, it's okay, I guess. And then, but then they actually watch like the other 3 movies, and like, oh, so this is what the hype was all about. This makes more sense. And it's like, well, yeah, because like you're just riding off of the success of like an original idea. Um,
See, it's the whole like live action thing is so depressing. Like I don't know if you knew this, Spark, but Lion King, like the original movie, was the highest grossing animated film of all time
Yeah, that I
mm-hmm.
know that.
until the horrible remake of The Lion King that used the fucking realistic lions came out. And because that whole movie is all CGI and has no actual live action parts, now that movie is the highest grossing animated picture of all
Well,
time.
no, hold on, Tom. If you
Isn't
don't,
that
no,
depressing?
no, think about this, Tom. Though, yeah, I don't know if you saw the Fine Bros and the React channel, but as we all concluded, the kids who are dipshits and have like pea brains all agreed that in fact it was not it was a live action film, not an animated CGI film. And as we all know, the Fine Bros didn't manipulate their views or opinions on that at all to like get a cool reaction. So in fact, it is, as we all know, and I think we can all agree, is a live action, not a CGI schlock piece of shit. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Tom. Right?
It's also just not a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's not. It's not, honestly. I saw it. It's not.
Speaking of things that are
But
bad,
and yet it made like a fucking $1 trillion.
well, yeah, I didn't even see
Not
it.
a
Somehow.
trillion, but
I
like billions of dollars.
yeah.
Shitty ass
Do
movie.
you think it's just people that wanting to like ride the train of being like, see, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Lion King. I watched the live
No, it's
action.
curiosity. It's
Oh,
curiosity. It's people going, I guess I'll go see the new Lion King.
curiosity
But
killed the
everyone already
tiger.
knows Lion King, so they all do that.
Yeah.
And the worst thing, shit, forgetting what it is, what I was gonna say. Um,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I was gonna say something about that movie, but then I forgot again. Oh yeah, I remember now. Um, the worst thing is just the fact that the only reason those movies are truly being made in the first place, the reason they keep doing a new Lion King movie instead of just doing a different like CGI lion movie, is because copyright is like you use it or you lose it.
Mm,
And so they're like, okay, well, we need to maintain the ability to use like all our Lion King characters for like theatrical purposes. So we just have to make a new Lion King movie anyway. Let's just do it with a CGI thing because that's cheap and stupid like adults will go, "Oh wow, it looks so advanced,"
You know,
because they had no appreciation for the art form.
what's depressing about the
Oh,
Lion King movie? Just to like not to like him and haw about it, but like I saw like the Lion King like the live action not fuck why am I saying that? I saw the Lion King theater play, right? The theater
Yeah,
play.
I did too when I was little.
It's so fucking good. Like Tom, you can agree on this, right? Because you have even bigger theaters out there in the New Yorks and whatnot. But
Mhm.
like, dude, that shit fucking slapped. And I don't know why the freaking fuck they don't use like the actors in that to do like the voice lines at the very fucking least. Like they all just reprised old roles or just reused audio from the original fucking Lion King. Like how like fucking how fucking corrupt could you be, Disney? It's like goddamn. It's so
And
I
they
silly.
never
got
watched it.
fucking.
Is it really that good?
It the
I
theatrical
was
Uh,
play,
very
yeah.
young when I saw it, but I remember it being great.
They do a lot of good like uh they do this thing which brings like a big grandiose scale to it where it's like they have actors actually like acting in like the like hallways or like like the just like the cool like strips where like like some theater plays do this where it's like characters come off stage and it's like that show does that a lot and they do it with like a really good like feeling of like grandiose like you feel like you're a part of like
Mhm.
the herd of like animals like looking at Pride Rock like it's a
Yeah.
real ass
I
experience.
see.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, yeah, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of hot
I'd
men
love to
with
see that.
big muscles. um that's just true. There's a lot of hot women too with big muscles because they do like a bunch of like there's like a bunch of like props and shit that they wave around and they do a bunch of like because it's animal
Zumba.
based, right? So like they have to have like all these like big like elephant esque characters with like multiple like trained like professionals that are like buff as shit like lifting up these like massive like rotund elephants and other things doing stuff. It's really cool, but like yeah, it's hot. So if you want to see like hot
Go
Lion
watch it at
King
your local theater
characters,
now.
yeah,
I can I can already see Buff Mufasa being like, Simba, everything that the light
Zumba
touches
dude,
is
it's
yours.
it's
is
bad.
yours to live.
It's good and bad because like so because you know how like plays will go on for like 6 hours because that's just the nature of plays. But
Yeah.
like, dude, like some of the guys get like super sweaty, especially with the stage lights. So it's just like these. It's just these like buff, like ripped men pretending to be lions with like fucking
Spark,
sweat beating down.
tell
It's
me the
like,
truth.
yeah.
Did the Lion King turn you gay?
No, I watched that when I was at a ripe old age of 20. So yeah,
And you're like,
Oh,
wow, his rippling muscles and huge
damn, there's a
bulging
lot of
cock.
muscles.
yeah.
God
All
damn.
right, Tom, you're telling me that you don't see like a fucking like man acting like a lion with like big fucking muscles, like sweating, like he's sweating.
Did the Lion King live action turn you into a furry on
It's
Broadway?
not even like it's it's a theatrical play, not live action. But no,
It is live action though.
well, yeah, technically, but I say theatrical, whatever.
Technically, yeah.
It's a play. It's not. Yeah, it's none of this bullshit. None of this fucking Disney bullshit. But yeah,
It's a
it's fucking hot.
play.
Yeah.
It's a theatrical performance.
Mm, okay.
It's not a mere play.
It's not a mere play. It's not a mere child's toy. Um, speaking of child's toys, I wanted to
Oh
talk
my
about this.
god.
We've been watching Steven Universe for the third time in a row. At least for
Third
me.
time?
Uh, and I don't know if you want to talk
It's
about.
also my third or fourth time.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about this, Matthew, because you've never watched Steven Universe, so we had to
Yeah,
like string you by the sockets and like put you on a cross and like burn you
yeah,
at the
I
stake.
never
But what's your opinion on it so far?
I never watched it. I only know a few bits because, memes or whatever stuff. And from what I gathered, Steven is an annoying little bitch.
Yeah,
Really. He looks like a fucking
he's Scott Pilgrim
annoying
esque,
kid that
but
you
he's a little kid, so it's fine.
Well, the thing with him is
Yeah.
that like if you like start watching it from the first episode, you get it very quickly. You're like, oh, he's annoying because he's a kid, and then
Hmm.
the show is about him growing up, and like becoming less annoying and more responsible and shit
Ah,
like that.
I see. Yeah, that makes
And that's why
sense.
Steven Universe Future blows, because he doesn't learn any lessons from
Yeah, because he's already
anything.
like mature and developed,
Yeah,
and also every other character's arc is complete already, and now they're just trying to like shoehorn in.
yeah, ham-fish shit
It's
in.
weird. The other fucked up thing is like Steven Universe has incredible fucking music, but all the music
Yeah.
in Steven Universe Future blows. It's all so bad.
Lower
Yeah.
Other
production,
than like
baby.
the music from the movie. The music from the movie is fucking incredible. It's all like some of my favorite songs from the show. But then you go to Steven Universe Future and it's like all. It sounds like it was written by a skeleton crew, like led by the same person, because they're all like the same kind of bloopy, almost like reggae-ish tropical music. Every song. It's like this is not this show's like style of music.
Yeah.
It is sometimes, but not like every song.
Not only that, but
It is
like
very
That
strange.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this with just like shows in general, especially like animated shows, but like it's like the moment the show gets a movie, it's like, well, now it's just kind of all downhill from here because like how can you top a
Hmm.
movie, right?
Yeah. Unless you
well,
intentionally make the movie like just a longer episode of the show, like they
Or
did
you
with like
make a
Aqua
second
Teen and
movie
shit.
with a cool Spinell-esque character
Hmm.
with
That
cool rubber
that is true.
banding.
Yeah.
that was the only movie.
That was the new old movie.
That the only interaction I have with Steven Universe is just, well, sometimes I will draw these gems characters,
Hmm.
not
Sometimes,
even in the lewd way,
no.
just people requesting me to draw those gems, and I'm like, okay, sure, why not? They look kind of cool,
I
and
would
I do
happily
them.
start the show again just to watch, just so you can join us in the marathon.
Nah, you don't need to see shit for the
The
first season.
pro the problem is the time zone. It's gonna be hard for me to follow the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You know
I guess so.
exactly. So I would love to, honestly. I would love to watch the
Yeah,
show,
Tom, when are we gonna have our
all of it.
OKKO marathon, huh? I,
Everyone's favorite show ever, OKKO.
can I talk about OKKO? Because I
No, you
watched that to completion as an adult just to see what the fuck the deal was, right? Just to
Is
understand
it
it.
good?
It's like mediocre at best. Cause like so the whole gimmick. This is like a brief synopsis of OKKO just for you guys and for the audience members. But it's like, in summation, it's a cool parody on like the ideas of like Dragon Ball or like young character like growing up and like becoming powerful and shit. Like that's the whole gimmick, right? And so they do a bunch of good jobs of like not flanderizing, but like making fun of concepts in those shows. Like, oh, there's an evil version of OKKO that he has a shadow version. Or it's like, oh, they have like an evil robotic esque character that like roboticizes things. Like, okay, so that's where that's from. And not only that, but they do a clever thing of like, not only referencing other material, but like having it in the show where it's like, because it's a part of like the lore universe where it's like, oh, in the OKKO universe, all the heroes like exist because that's like the gimmick. So like you get Sonic appears
it's kind of
from
fun.
nowhere, like Sonic just shows up and he's like a hero because like that's the whole gimmick of that show is that
Is there an actual episode where
Like
Sonic
Sonic,
shows up?
Sonic,
yes, like
as in like
Sonic
they
the
licensed
actual
it, or
hedgehog, he talks.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah. And then you have other
did they
things
like
like
did
that.
they like license the character? Did they license the character? Is it like, oh no, it's Blonic
No,
the
it's
Hedgehog?
literally Sonic the Hedgehog, and then OKKO was like, "Whoa, that's Sonic the Hedgehog," and it's like, "Whoa, I mean, and then Sonic's like, "Whoa, the Green Hill Zone's looking like the Sand Hill Zone," and then everyone
That's
laughs.
bizarre.
Yeah,
Oh my
but
god!
I'm
they
looking at it right now.
It's
It's
a bad
so
joke.
weird.
yeah, because they do it in
I do
like their
not
art
like the art
style.
style they drew
Yeah,
Sonic in.
but I'll say this much with
The-
OKKO, it's very much like the like the showrunner is very like sketchy as fuck because like the OKKO character, right, has like this weird mommy complex where like he's clearly like drawing this kid character to be like a crybaby mama's boy like on purpose, Like he's constantly like talking
Mhm.
about how he wants to be with his mama and shit like that. Like this isn't even a joke. This is just real. Like it, and it doesn't change either. You think like, oh, by the end of the show, like he's become more like mature or whatever. It's like no, he's still like a child. Like he's like a 5-year-old child that's working at a convenience store. It's like what? And like they try to have like cool scenes where it's like, oh, like because they have okay, so they have this like hero card thing where it's like you can see what like power level you are by like going to a vending machine and seeing like on the hero scale like how cool you are. And there's the inverse where it's like you're a villain, so you have like a negative integer. So it's like, oh, I'm a -8 villain, so that's pretty good. But like for like the show, they have like these evil like capybara as characters, and it's like, oh, it's not that they're evil, it's just like because of the way they are portrayed, they're not seen as heroes, so they don't get hero cards. But then that gets thrown out the window because like, but villains can get hero cards, so they have negative like numbers. But also it's like the fucking capybaras aren't like monsters or evil or nothing. It's just like they've been like misunderstood. So like OKKO is like this justice hero for like you know the cappies, and so he's like they're actually not that evil if you think about it, Mr. Hero Card producer. And he's like, you know what, you're right, KO. And then he's like and then he's not racist towards the cappies anymore, and they get hero cards. And it's like, okay, I guess that's a racist thing. That had to be your like racist episode. But it's like, and
Mhm.
in summation, this show is very like, it even makes fun of like the like academy like setup where it's like, oh, these heroes go to an academy. Like it has an academy arc. Like it literally does like everything in its power to like fit every like hero like schlock like under the sun into it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So like if you just watch it like high, or like you just understand like it's literally poking fun at all these things, and it's like, yeah, okay, I could watch this. And I'll say this much, you have to definitely skip episodes because some of them are just fucking slow as shit, and like they don't do anything for me. But like, yeah, so that's my view of OKKO. um don't watch it, it's not really worth it.
I like that the main character is literally just fucking Ruby from Steven Universe.
Yeah,
The, yeah, kind of.
It's the same fucking design. When I first saw it, I thought it was like, oh, is this like some weird fan art human version of Ruby, or like some other gem character who's also
I
a
think they have
Ruby
a
or something?
Steven
And I was like,
Universe
oh,
crossover
no, it's from a
too.
different show and has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have something where he meets Ruby.
Yeah, for sure. There's like because they always do that in that show where it's like, whoa, it's like Ed, and Eddie, they're heroes. It's like, what? Okay,
It's like,
they come to save us with
What?
Jawbreakers and such. It's like, okay,
What the?
okay, KO. It's like what? But yeah,
Okay, that's kind of weird.
yeah, it's a
I don't
show.
have, I don't have it. I don't have
oh
anything
my
to
god,
say about the show since
when
I
I
never watched it. But
when I
there is a
searched,
particular show that I want to watch specifically. Uh, how's it called again? I think it was. Oh yeah, it was called Gravity Falls. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is a show I would love to
yes,
watch
that show is
because
so fucking good.
I watched a few episodes of it in like in random order, so I'm kind of dumb for that. But holy shit, it was
Tell you
really
what,
interesting. Yeah.
we can let's marathon that show,
yeah,
since
that's
you know
way
they
worth.
cannot be on like at certain times.
Yeah,
Uh, I can marathon that show with you while I marathon Steven Universe with Milkshake.
it's also way shorter too, so it's like easier to like digest. It's like 3 seasons, right?
It's shorter. It's 2 seasons
Oh
only
shit.
actually. Um,
Yeah.
but also every episode is 20 minutes, meaning that they have a lot more time to develop things and pace things and
Mm-hmm.
create like a great story.
Yeah, that's why every episode can kind of like stand alone. Like even when they're doing like their grandiose arc stuff, like
Yeah,
every episode still feels like a contained episode where it's like, oh, it's not really
yeah,
building up. It's only towards the tail end of the last season where it's like, oh yeah, of course you kind of have to watch these episodes like in order. But other
yeah,
than
yeah.
that, like, yeah, it's good shit.
Steven Universe, sorry, Gravity Falls is one of those like whenever I really, really like a show, I inevitably start writing like fan fiction about like, okay, here's what happens with these characters after the show, and like Gravity Falls was one where I got really fucking into it. Like I wrote like a whole long ass arc and like
Holy
multiple
shit.
dimensions for like the characters to go in. It was a lot of fun. That show's fucking great.
Yeah, and this is why I love to watch it. They should try to start an ARG, right?
They
Yeah,
did an ARG and
yeah.
people figured it out like genuinely.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. I that makes me want to watch it more. I
There's
love
oh my god.
I
That's
love I
actually
love
Gravity
mysteries.
Falls is the kind of show that you kinda have to watch twice because they Steven Universe does this a little bit where they'll hide shit in the backgrounds of episodes. Um like for example, the one that everyone likes to point out because it's the first one you ever see. In the first episode of the show, he opens up his freezer and grabs a bunch of ice cream bars out, and you can see in the back of the freezer there's a little like light up wristband because people put those in freezers to like preserve them. And
Yeah.
then in like the 10th episode, he goes into the freezer and grabs that light band because he wants to give it to like this girl he likes. And it's like, oh, they set that up. They hid that in the background, and it came back later. They do that a lot in Steven Universe. They are ridiculous about it in Gravity
Mm-hmm.
Falls. Like you
Holy
need to
shit.
like go through episodes with like a fine tooth comb and be like, oh my god, that's a hint towards this character that doesn't even show up until like the next season, and like you can see that
Yeah.
around him is like other objects that he used. It's so
There's so
like
much
Yeah, it's
crazy.
yeah, there's so much batshit crazy stuff in that where it's like every end card ends with like a weird like symbols and shit, and
Yes.
like you have to like
yeah,
cipher
I
them
remember
out.
that.
Yeah, it's like it comes with like these fucking mysterious fucking codes, like something stupid like the handyman knows all or some shit. And it's like, what does that mean?
hmm
It's like
I
okay,
believe that those once you like solve it, it was the ARG was to find the giant like stone Bill Cipher in the
mm-hmm,
woods, right?
yeah.
That's such a fucking good show. Maybe we can start marathoning it tomorrow if you're free.
Maybe we can find the
Oh,
Bill Cipher statue and take a picture of it with our
Yeah.
cameras.
Is it still out there? It can't be.
I don't know, maybe. I
if it
hope so, just
is
for
that,
its
that's yeah, that's
historical
awesome.
purposes.
Hmm. But yeah, I would love to start watching the show. I it generally brings me. I freaking love mysteries. I
Hmm.
love that. So that's
Yes,
something.
that's the perfect show for that.
Yeah.
They like
Exactly.
also they do fuck with you a lot with the mysteries. They like knock you around all over the place of like, wait, who does that? Oh, that's responsible for that. No, wait, actually that was a trick and it's actually that. It's very good with that like part of its storytelling.
It.
You know what? That reminds me that I also watched a video about. Oh, fuck, I don't remember how it's called. Hold on, let me look it up real quick.
I was just gonna
Sure.
say though, like Gravity Falls reminds me of like an old mystery books like I would read as a kid, where it's just like they're really good and self-contained, and like they always keep you guessing no matter what. Even if you were able to like figure out like maybe like one weird thing in the episode, like there's like 10 other things like you just have no idea what's going on, and eventually they do
Yes.
get solved, and you're like, oh my god, that makes so
Right.
much sense.
See, that's the thing that like Gravity Falls did great that most things like it don't, and that is delivering on all of the mysteries. Like you walk away from that show satisfied. You don't go like, well, there's all these like little things that they never talked about or answered. Like, what about this? What about this? What about this?
Yeah,
Pretty
everything
much
is answered.
everything gets wrapped up. It's that they do it in a very clever way. They wrap up all the questions that they gave you throughout the show, but then at the very, very end, they ask one more question and leave that one hanging.
Yeah.
So instead of like fucking with you and being like, oh, they built this up and they never answered it, they just left that as a cliffhanger, they create something new to be the cliffhanger. Because then that leads to speculation and like fan content and having just fun with like now it's in your hands. You can continue the narrative, or I'll continue. The other reason that they did it was because maybe they'll make a new show based on it in like fucking 10 years or something.
Huh, maybe. Also, I found the thing I was talking about. I watched
Oh,
a
what is it?
video about this house has people in it. Do you know about this?
What is it called?
This house has people in it.
Let me Google
It's
that.
Yeah, you can. It's like a quite well, I wouldn't say short. It's a mid-length video about just a camera watching over a
Oh,
family in a house, and some weird shit happens, and there's like entire an entire ARG behind it, and I fucking
that's
love it.
cool. I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah,
I'll watch. You know what? I'll watch it maybe tomorrow.
Inscription
I
the
love
yeah,
video
stuff
game
like
does
that.
that too a lot. I love that shit.
That reminds me of me and my family watched Skinamarink, and like
What?
they all fucking hated it. Do you know what Skinamarink
I
is?
have no idea what the words
no.
you were saying, Tom.
Skinamarink is like it's a 30-minute movie. It is it's it's an expansion of that kind of ARG weird content, like kind of like analog horror, where it's very quiet, it's very slow, it's just shots of a house, and weird things occur. Strange things happen. Doors
Mm.
disappear, windows disappear. There's some kind of strange entity that's like guiding the children around and making them do things. But you see very little visually. It's all in like the ambience and like the narrative storytelling. I sat there and was like, "This is awesome! I love like how strange of a world they're creating and like the story that can be like picked apart and watched like 20 times." My family was like, "This is so fucking boring. It's just shots of a dark house and occasionally a window disappears." And it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I understand. It's just like I that's what I told them though. Like I wasn't like mad at them for not liking it. I was like, you have to be in the right mindset. But the thing is, they didn't get it. They were just like, what mindset? Bored? And I was like, fuck off.
It's that
It's just
PT
like, come
shit.
on.
Yeah.
You have to be into like the vibe of like, no, no, no. It's
Yeah,
interesting because you're supposed to sit and think about it, not just sit and like watch it. It's
It's a
not gonna have a
thinking
guy jump
man's
out and
movie.
spook you.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out the story and being like, what the fuck is this universe that they created?
It's a thinking man's horror
yeah.
film.
So
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand. Like, Skinamarink is even further. Like, it seems like this house has people in it. It appears to have a lot more going on, just at least visually.
mhm.
Whereas, to be fair, there are parts of Skinamarink that are just like, okay, this is a shot of a door disappearing,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be very, very slow. I still appreciated it because I was like trying to figure out like what the hell is going on in this like universe that it's creating. But um, I can understand
You know what pisses me off,
why people
Tom?
would be bored with it. Well,
Yeah.
Is that people don't take advantage of that concept more often, where it's like the thing about film as well as just like video games too is like you can manipulate space and time very easily with
mhm.
those two mediums, but like nobody does that enough, where it's like I want for the love of God, for like more fucking Portal-esque games to come out, or just something where it's like it fucks with your mind the way like things warp
Mhm.
or change, or like you're
Oh,
able to like
people have
move.
tried.
Yeah.
People have tried. It's so hard to figure out one to go with. I really liked. Do either of you remember? Because I can never remember what the game is called. It's the one where everything is super stark white, and you have a weird gun that can collect blocks, and then you can shoot the blocks back out into different places.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you know
that
what I'm
game
talking about?
sucked. Yeah.
The game. Oh, it did. People
Hmm.
loved that
I didn't
game.
like it. It felt like a half-assed Portal game.
Like it was the one where like you could. There was like like a window that looked into like a red area, but if you went close enough for it to fill your whole vision and then walked back, you'd be in the red
Oh no, wait,
area.
you're talking about that game. Yeah, that game's a lot more fun. I thought you were talking about an entirely different game. Because there's so many games
I
like
don't know.
that where it's just
I don't know
white.
which game you're
You
talking about.
do you know what it's called?
No. That one's really impressive because of how very abstract it is, but it's still able to give you like guidance to what you're doing if you're able to like really think about it. Um but there's other Portal-esque games out there that are just like so bad at what they do where it's like the literally okay, so here's the thing, right? This is a perfect example of what I mean by a bad Portal clone, where they do the exact same like puzzle build room, right? Where it's you have two switches, so you need to put two blocks on those two switches to open up a door. But the thing is, the reason Portal's so good at doing that is because they designed the level so that you can do fuckery with something that's such a simple concept. So in Portal, you can, yes, unlock the door with the 2 switches, but what you can also do, which is the third option, which nobody like goes down that third option, is you can then shoot a portal into that door that's open now, remove the block from the switch, make a little staircase with the 2 blocks, go through the portal that's up there that you can use to then go into that room, and now you're stuck in the room because you got rid of the thing that solves the puzzle, but also you solved the puzzle because you got into the next room, and the game acknowledges that you did some fuckery because they were able to plan ahead at you doing some dumb shit. But like games that copy that verbatim, where you're able to do the exact same thing, will not like reward you or do a little golf clap and be like, "Oh, how clever of you for you to like remove the switches and be able to continue on to the next room." A bad game will have that as a flaw and not realize it's a flaw, and then not even acknowledge the fact that you did that.
One of my favorite one of my favorite moments in all of Portal 2 is a part. It's in one of the turret maps where GLaDOS is still in control. You there's a part where you can like portal a cube into a room and trap yourself inside. And GLaDOS just like, oh no, it's not that you put a cube in. It's that if you like enter this room and then you put 2 portals on each side of the room, you trap yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And GLaDOS just spends like 30 seconds just making fun of you. Like, wow, your intellect is so high that you have managed to imprison yourself for all of eternity inside of this tiny room. Good job.
Yeah.
You
Oh, that's kind of funny. I like
you may
that.
lay down in the what's it called, like the recovery position, the party recovery position, and starve to death. Just kidding. Please finish it properly this time, and it opens up the door.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to do it again, it just automatically opens it for you
Yeah.
until you shoot another portal out.
Oh, that's really
I
clever.
I
I
love
love
that
that.
it always uses it, even though it's you being really clever. It uses it as an opportunity to call you a fucking idiot,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate that.
There's a lot of stuff
Because
in
it makes
Regular.
you.
those games too that are just like that.
The best thing about it is the fact that like because GLaDOS is such a bitch, her calling you an idiot makes you really proud.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like mad at the game for calling you an idiot. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm making GLaDOS mad. I'm making this
Yeah.
big evil like demonic bitch angry.
The sexy robot bitch angry. Yeah.
A sexy robot bitch, really.
Yeah, she's great.
I mean, I gotta admit, she's kind of hot.
She's definitely hot. I choose your next words carefully.
Um, uh, I am French. Hello, hi. Ho ho ho. Oui.
Yeah. What's it like? What's it like making porn in French culture? Like, is it? Clearly, it's not frowned upon, obviously, but like,
Well, no, because there were a lot of movies back then. I'm talking about movies, not porn. Movies where there were lots of naked ladies just going around. It wasn't censored. It was just normal to the
full
public. No
penetration.
one but a night. No, not
Yeah,
penetration though. They were just naked.
Ah, damn.
full
And
anal double
But
penetration.
anal's fine in French culture.
Yeah.
of course. But yeah, I guess culture changed, and now they have to censor everything. So,
Well, also, I
well,
assume that your region isn't culturally similar to France, is it? Or is it?
it's not the same. Yeah, I know about France, of course, but
Yeah.
we have our own culture here too. It's kind of hard to explain, though.
You just have faggots. But you do have baguettes, right? Or is that the
Baguettes.
Uh,
opposite?
of
No
course.
faggots, no baguettes.
Yeah, just baguette. We do have the baguettes here
Mm-hmm. Oh
and the
well.
faggots.
You have mimes.
we
We were talking about
mimes are
cigarettes,
not a
by the
thing
way,
anymore.
for the listeners back home who thought we were like, assholes towards the gay
It's,
community.
they're not.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
They're called fags. They're not called faggots.
How would you
That
say
is
the
true.
plural fags? Tom?
You just said it.
Yeah,
You
It's
faggots.
just said it.
fags.
No. I'm
Yeah.
smart. You're dumb.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let's go with
You're a
that. Let's go with
faggot.
I know I am. I have sex with a man. Hopefully my mom doesn't
that.
listen to
Lol.
this
Some guy
podcast.
Camera guy, zoom in on this guy.
No, that's a real issue I have,
Uh,
listeners at home. Right now, my mom thinks I'm dating a woman for some godforsaken reason because some bastard in my family, who I have not found out yet, but when I find them, I'm going to pull them like a goddamn weed. But when I do find out who said I was dating someone, and then she just presumed it was a girl because she's very much homophobic, we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, I don't have to acknowledge it for a while, but, that's my life right now.
oof. Are you dating someone?
Yeah, I'm dating a man.
Me?
Or yeah,
Oh,
Tom.
oh, okay,
Yeah, Tom, are you
okay,
dating a
okay.
I
man?
am not.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I'm your boyfriend.
You're really not. You're not
Damn,
my type.
kind of
Well,
hard,
actually,
not
you
gonna
are my
lie.
type, Tom, but also you're not my type.
What does that
Is your
mean?
type like someone who can jerk off 10 times in a day?
What the?
Yes and no, Tom. If you were a
That's
little,
really impressive, but
yeah, if you were a little bit more
Thank
physically
you, thank
active,
you.
if you lost a couple of pounds, then you'd definitely be my type. But also, you don't like men, so
Honestly,
there's no point.
Sport. Well, yeah. I was gonna say though, if I lived with you, I'd probably be way more active just because I'd have someone to go out and do shit with.
Yeah. Hell, Tom,
yeah,
I'm saying this on the books right now because like things are gonna happen eventually in my life. Not to sound fucking morbid, but the moment my fucking grandma, goes down under, or goes to
Mm-hmm.
Australia and retires or dies, um, my life will be like
Goes to
so.
hell where she belongs.
Well, not that.
No,
Unless my grandpa's in hell, because that's definitely where he sort of
yeah.
belongs. He slept with a lot. He slept with a lot of women when he was in the Navy, but that's neither here nor
So
there.
you're saying, but you're saying that she would still want to be with him.
Yeah, because she's like a good woman. Too good for my
huh?
grandpa. But also my grandpa's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the thing about like the Sparks family. All right, for the viewers at home, is the men are like fucking weenies, but we're like strong to our word, right? So like we're very sensitive men, but like we'll beat you up if like you fuck with us in the wrong way, like constantly. So, we know when we've done wrong, so we'll do puppy dog eyes to the people that we love and cry a bunch, right? And that's what my grandpa did when he came back from the Navy doing nuclear submarines, and he's like, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I had sex with all these
Sorry, I'm
women."
so sorry.
Yeah, he cried. And then my grandma like hit him a bunch, but then they got over it because that's what you do. But I don't know where I was going with this, but in summation,
Well,
Tom,
to be fair, like it does suck, but also it's the fucking military. It's fucked up in itself.
yeah, you can't
Yeah,
have
it's
sex with
a lot
your
of fucked up stuff.
platoon mates.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, you could.
well, you can't because they hated the gays at the time. You'd get
Yeah,
kicked
that's true.
out
Yeah,
and you
well,
get like court-martialed for being
they
gay,
quote unquote hated the gays, but also half the military was gays, so
especially the Navy. But my grandpa was not gay.
especially the Navy.
I don't know. My grandpa could have
What
been
is
gay.
that?
I'm definitely gay, and I think it's a genetic thing. Maybe.
Yeah, you inherited it.
Yeah.
How how is being gay a genetic thing?
I don't know what it is. I think it's like a testosterone thing. I don't know. I try to
I
rationalize it in my head, but there's really no way to rationalize
I,
being
Do you
gay.
think that
I thought this was a choice.
I don't know.
Do you think that now that being gay is like acceptable and gay guys aren't like getting wives and children just to like save face anymore,
Uh-huh.
that gays will slowly die out because they're not having kids?
No, that'll never happen cuz
Uh,
cuz there's
that's
self-denying gays where even if it's like accepted socially, they'll never accept it themselves. Like I used to be like that, I'll say. Where it's just like, oh, I'm not gay. I'm clearly not gay. And it's like, oh, well, I don't particularly like women, but, I think men are attractive. And then you just that slow, like, boiling frog thing where it's like, yeah, I'm definitely just gay, huh? I definitely just like men, huh? But, like, yeah, it's one of those things, Tom. But what I was going to say, though, because I know you wanted to hang out more, Tom, in IRL, but, like,
Mhm.
dependent on how my life outlook happens within like a year or two. I don't know if my grandma's gonna be alive. I don't know if my aunt's gonna move with my grandma or something like that. Just so that there's someone taking care of her. It's like we'll see what the fuck happens. But I'm putting in my
I
time
mean,
right now.
I understand how hard it would be for you to actually like. It's more like wishful thinking because it's like we live on fucking opposite sides of the
No, I'm more
country.
likely to move than you, Tom. I
Oh,
just know
really?
it. Yeah.
You would move to New Jersey? You want to move to the land of high taxes and low wages?
Well, because I'd live in a van.
Guess that's
You,
fair.
you, you know
Yeah.
what? You're talking about moving to, different states and all that.
Hmm.
I have an American friend of mine who's willing to teach me about American culture, and the first
Mhm.
thing he decided to show me is fucking wrestling.
That's
That's
a good
So
fair.
place to start.
Yeah, honestly.
that's a good place to start. Yeah,
That's
honestly,
a fun. That's a
I,
fun
I,
place to start.
I've seen many things in the state in those in the wrestling, some good, some bad, and most of the time it's absurdly it's just insane. It's just completely insane.
Yeah, because wrestling is
Wrestling is just yeah,
yeah, it's just good because like wrestling is our it's like the American version of like plays, if that makes sense. Where like because like
yeah. I see what you mean.
American history it hasn't been around for that long, so the main things that we do have like wrestling are like they're like near and dear to our hearts because it's just like that's America right there. Like that's like also like luchador stuff too. Like that's not American, but it's like they're two sides of the same coin with like wrestling, where
I
it's
mean,
like
it is American. It's not
yeah,
United States of American.
but yeah, it's like the whole like continent as a whole American, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, but like yeah, it's just stuff like that that really like gets me going and like the heart where I'm proud to be American. Like the national song plays in my head. I see fucking red, white, and blue. I'm just like crying a tear. And then an eagle flies behind me. And it's like yeah, man, that's what it is. Um, to going on that more, like uh Tom knows this, but I recently came across some old Americana art. Yeah, how about that? From Oregon, which is crazy because I live in Missouri, not to dox myself, but you know, art
Uh-huh.
from Oregon from like the 19 I think it's 30s or 20s making its way all the way back to Missouri is a little ridiculous. And the piece I found was made by like the Oregon Society of Artists, which was founded in like the 1920s or something like that. And so it's this amazing woman artist that made this beautiful just like kind of church kind of a watercolor art, and it's survived the decades along with like a picture of her as well as like a description on the back that's just faded out. And it's like it's clearly like about 100 years old, and it's just impressive to me to like have a piece of just like American art that's lasted this long and hasn't like burned up or something. So I'm trying my hardest right now to like get that piece of art back to like the family members or something so that they can have like a piece of art or at least the picture of their great great grandmother. Like I think that'd be pretty neat because not a lot of people have
Yeah.
anything like that just in general.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll see what happens with that. Um,
That reminds me,
Wow.
I've been wanting to fucking do some kind of like ancestry.com or something and just like look back through like my family history, look at my family tree and just see like what kinds of people am I related to.
mhm.
I just think that would be so fascinating to be like, "Oh, I'm like 12 generations removed from like this Scottish nobleman that like led a revolution or something."
Is this
That
thing
kind of
100% accurate?
what?
Mhm.
The ancestor
I,
thing.
I
Is it
mean,
straight?
the way they do it is they use like some like genetic information, but mostly what they do is they look back through just legal documents
Yeah.
and just go, okay, this person's the son of this person's the son of this person's the son of this person, and build out like a family tree.
It's
Uh,
yeah, it's,
Ah, I
it's the
see.
and
combination.
in theory, if you go back far enough, people might be lying on their documents, and then that will muddle the waters. But typically, most of it is more or less accurate
It,
because it's like, well, why would you lie on a birth certificate? Like,
not
who
not
cares?
only that, but like so there was this like weird like gotcha moment that like some article did where it's like we sent in our names and stuff to ancestry, but we gave them dog DNA, like the saliva from our dogs, and then came back with these ridiculous results. It's like no, they were probably just fucking confused because it's like this DNA is
Yeah,
weird. Let's just use like our data banks to like figure out like based on their names and
I, I
their
think that
yeah. Hmm?
I was just gonna say I think that ancestry mostly doesn't even use like that's like it's not like 23andMe. Like ancestry is just
Yeah.
you send them like your name and some legal documents. And if you want to, you can send them DNA, but that'll mostly be for like, oh, you're 8% African, ha ha ha,
Ha ha ha! You're
that
white
kind of
though. Isn't
thing.
that funny?
Ha ha, you're 8% African.
I
If it
just
was in the 20s, you couldn't vote.
I'm just
Ha
I'm just
ha.
worried about that shit. Not to sound like a fucking psychopath, but like there's like a one weird part of me that's like, what happens when like not to sound like a fucking liberal cuck, but it's like, what happens if like a dystopian like society happens again where it's like a bunch of racist people are like, fuck black people, and it's like, we're gonna use all this DNA testing to see if you're like an eighth black, and if you are, you'll be like lesser, and
They
it's like,
already
what?
did that, Spark. They did it through legal documents.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
already
Yeah,
too late. Like you don't need the fucking 23andMe to
Yeah,
do that.
so true. Yeah. That's why everyone spits on
it's
my
kind
face when they see my red hair, and they're like, Irish, Scots Irish, fucking low class citizen, and they spit on me. I'm like, thank you,
You're like,
sir.
no, I'm clearly a Native American.
No, I'm 12% Native American too. So I guess that makes me lower on the rung, huh? And then
No,
they
that's
Native
kind
Americans would have been. That's the fucked up thing.
yeah
Native Americans were higher up than like Irish. Like people, like the Irish were considered like on the same level as like the black people and like the fucking 20s and shit. It's crazy.
yeah. They they
insane.
blow fucking smoke in my face, and they're like, smoke 'em the peace pipe, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then they spit on me. So
Fuck, have you ever smoked them to peace pipe?
technically, yeah. I mean, yeah,
You
I think
have?
it'd be fascinating to like smoke the herbs of my ancestors. I think that'd be fascinating, but I don't know what the hell they smoked. I know they
It was
smoked weed,
peyote, right?
or they had that too, but they didn't smoke
Oh
tobacco. That
yeah,
was brought
he
over by
wants.
England.
Yeah,
What?
that same
Was
friend
it?
wants me to smoke weed with him.
Or no, it
Peyote? No,
wasn't.
Like,
peyote's definitely from America.
Yeah.
uh,
No, I meant tobacco. Is tobacco from where the fuck is tobacco from?
No, tobacco's also from America.
Yeah, you're probably right on
it's
that.
tobacco
I always
from
forget
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
like
America,
that.
by the
Like
way.
it's like tobacco and tomatoes as we know them are from America. They're not from like weird other
yeah.
places.
It's especially tomatoes are especially surprising because like tomatoes are an essential part. Same thing with potatoes.
Hmm.
Tomatoes are an essential part of like Italian cuisine and culture, and they
Yeah.
didn't even get to Italy until like the 1600s.
Hmm. It's pretty
Oh
crazy.
shit, you might be right.
We're definitely right.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
And how potatoes are like an essential part of like Irish and British
Hmm.
cuisine, and like Russian and all of like really Central Europe in
It's because they're
general is
hardy.
very potato heavy.
It's because they can't die in like the fucking frigid climates or
Yeah.
disgusting soils. Like they can just
Well,
grow
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, did you know that potatoes are directly responsible for the meteoric growth of European society?
Yeah, I could imagine.
Excuse me.
Like,
Huh?
literally, potatoes being brought over to Europe, I think, instantly quadrupled the population, like within like
Yeah.
a couple of generations, because starvation didn't exist anymore. It was like, oh, you can just live off potatoes and be fine
The same thing happened
because they
with
have every nutrient you need.
yeah, the same thing happened with coffee in America because like we were like really into like the coffee thing.
Hmm.
So our productivity like skyrocketed like instant like crazily. It's like the same thing with the light bulb where it's like productivity like increased tremendously because people could just stay up longer. Like they didn't rely on
Yeah.
like sun, and they didn't rely on like their bodies needing sleep because they just used caffeine. It's like damn, hot damn. That's some good shit.
Fucked up how like caffeine just doesn't affect me for some reason.
It's because you drink it every fucking day, Tom.
Yeah, but so does
Oh,
everyone. But
that's
like the
probably
thing
I
why
is, like
don't.
then.
for
I
the
don't,
thing, well,
Tom.
no, I drink coffee for the taste. But the thing is, like other people, if they don't drink like their coffee, they'll be like tired and they're like, oh, I need to have my morning coffee. I don't like that. If I don't have coffee in the morning, I'm fine. It just means that I'm not
That's
feeling the
because your coffee is
flavor
filled
like
with
this
like
morning.
3/4 milk and a quarter sugar, and then you add like one
That's
lima
not even
coffee
true,
bean.
Spark, because a couple of times, especially recently, I've been like, man, I'm really tired this morning. You know what? I'm gonna go to Wawa before I get to work. I'm gonna pick up one of those Starbucks things. It's like triple what's it called? like
Triple
Espresso.
latte, whatever.
triple espresso, like shitloads of caffeine in it, and that'll probably wake me up because it has so much caffeine. And it doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't do anything. It's just like I just add a bunch of caffeine for no
But that's
reason.
because you're fucking. What is it? You have
You,
attention deficit disorder, whatever the fuck. You have the
how
shitty.
does that make caffeine less effective?
It's because
Okay.
I forget what the reasoning is. What the fuck is it? It's like doesn't it just make you more focused though? Or no?
Caffeine?
Yeah.
Maybe it does. I'm not sure. You know what? I think that I have heard that. Maybe I should put that to the test and see if
Yeah. So
drinking coffee
Uh,
makes me draw.
I, I don't know about that. I'm scared of your heart fucking exploding, bro.
no, yeah. So
No,
that
I'm not saying I'm gonna pound a shitload of caffeine. I'm more saying like maybe next time I draw, I'll have a nice
yeah.
cup of coffee next to
I don't
me.
think it works all the
Okay, I
time,
see.
but I think the weird science behind it is the same thing that works with like ADHD pills, where it's like
Mhm,
your body doesn't digest these chemicals correctly, so it converts it into a more like a different substance that makes you
mhm.
focus instead of like it giving you like a sugar rush or
Yeah.
like a caffeine high. Um, it's like
I see.
the way it's described to me from like every like person with like ADHD is like coffee has the inverse effect where instead of it making you like hyper or like having more energy, it's more like
Hmm.
now I'm more like cool and collected and now I can like focus more because it reduces
Hmm.
the energy you have because you have too much energy.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I have noticed that in the past, like, because I drink coffee for the taste, I've like had coffee just in the middle of the night, just because I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
want coffee right now. And this was more when I was in like high school and stuff. Um, and I have noticed that when I did that, I would stay up all night because caffeine will not make me feel more awake, but it will keep me awake sometimes. Sometimes it'll like prevent me from falling asleep. And I've noticed that
Yeah.
on those nights, like I would stay up and draw like some of the best shit I ever did, or like do really big animations.
Mm-hmm.
And I always assumed it was because I just couldn't sleep. It making me more focused was another like element of that.
I'm surprised you never ran
Okay,
into
well,
that because I ran. Huh?
maybe I should try drinking coffee more often then.
I don't know. Do you have
Maybe
ADHD
see how
problems?
it works for you.
I I don't think I do.
Then it
I
probably
don't
won't
think
work on you.
I ever checked that, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Should
no,
probably check.
like Spark, I do think that caffeine. I think that coffee just in general helps people focus.
I don't think it
Like it
does.
gives you more energy, but it also like is supposed to make you more focused just in general.
Yeah,
That's like one
maybe.
of the things that it
Yeah,
does.
maybe in the sense that like because you're just like drinking this thing that provides energy to you, like you have like you're not like constantly like thinking like, oh, how am I gonna expend my energy? It's like, oh, I'm just gonna spend it now because I have so much of it. It's like I don't know. All I know is every time I run into like people with ADHD, that's the same fucking line they always spew at me where it's like, "Oh yeah, energy drinks don't make me hyper. They actually make me like more chill." It's like, "What? That's weird." Okay, moving on. Like that's a constant thing that always happens like every time I talk to someone with ADHD. That's like the first thing they say to me. Like it's like a fucking weird ass like line they feed me. Like everyone has it. And it's just like and I know some ADHDs aren't all the same, which is why you need to like talk to a doctor to get like the right pill for you. So
Mhm.
like it's the same thing where it's like it's a chemical imbalance, so that's why it's more of a fine-tuned thing where it's like, oh yeah, this pill specifically is better for you in the long term because it actually makes you focus. While with caffeine, it's like you can't really like dose it out correctly. So yeah, maybe sometimes caffeine will work, but most of the time it won't. Or like, yeah, the three cans of Monster Energy will work, but it's like, why do you want to put 3 cans of Monster Energy in your body? You might as well just like take a
Yeah,
pill.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
Oh my God, Spark! I knew a guy when way back when I worked at Wendy's. I knew a guy who would get like I don't remember. It was some like awful energy. It was like worse than like Monsters. Some energy drinks that he would just like pound like 5 to 8 cans a day. He would just have bags of empty cans
Like
of
he
this
would go through
energy
like a
drink while he was
case.
working at what?
He would go through like a case of energy drinks.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. I was like, how is this guy alive? How has he not had a heart attack and fucking exploded?
Wait, an entire one?
No, like, but like, no, like, he didn't have cases of it. He would like go to like a nearby Wawa and pick up a bunch of like
Oh, okay.
energy drinks or
That's
something.
psychotic.
Um, but he would just drink like literally like at least I think it was usually more like 4 to 6 of them in a day, especially like long shifts, like 12-hour shifts. He would just have a
That
big
is
bag of these empty cans, and it's like, dude, how are you alive? How are you doing this every day? You're giving your
that's
like
insane.
liver a fucking beating.
Well, was he like a bit enveloped, a bit fat?
No,
No.
skinny, normal, not
Oh,
skinny,
that's why.
but fit looking guy. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he was a bit fat, that's even more dangerous for his heart. I'm not gonna lie.
It's cuz like
Well, I mean, he was just like he was just a fucking weird guy. He seemed like maybe he was like I don't know. He was just like a fucking weird, stupid,
it
like hick kind of guy.
that's
That's the
the
that's the word. He was a hick.
yeah, that's the biggest problem if you're like a skinny guy trying to like either do like heavy lifting or just like anything like physically
Well, no, he
demanding.
wasn't skinny. That was the wrong word. He just looked fit, like normal.
Yeah.
He definitely
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
skinny.
Well, even then, so like it's the same thing no matter what. Even if you're like a fit like twink or like you're just like a fit like just normal guy, I'll say this much: it pays in dividends being like a wide built man because I can eat more food,
Mhm.
I can store more energy, and I can expend more energy. Like there's like no downsides besides like putting on too much weight, and I can just solve that by like eating less. But with like skinnier or just like normal people, it's like the food they get is the energy that they will definitely expel. So like there's no like backup reserves or anything like that. So that's where energy drinks come in handy because it's like it's this short amount of stuff that like gets you going faster. Like the only reason I will ever like fall asleep isn't because like I'm tired from working. It's more that like I get lethargic from eating too much food from like regaining all the stuff I need to like continue to
Mhm.
operate. While with most people it's like yeah, I just need to eat food because if I don't, I'll literally just pass out and sleep because I just don't have anything in the tanks to like run my body. And like that happens a lot with like bodybuilders that are like doing cutting and stuff like that. Um because you're just trying to remove all the fat from your body by not eating food so that your body has to burn the fat to use it as energy. But like yeah, it's weird. It's weird especially when you're a skinny guy where it's like you either need to eat a shit ton of food and constantly be burning it or have like energy drinks that
Mhm.
supplement the idea of energy into like this
Well, that's
liquid
that's what I was
form.
gonna say. Is like energy drinks don't actually give you more
No, yeah,
energy.
it's
They just
fake
make you
energy.
feel like you have more
Yeah,
energy. So it's gonna fuck you up
it
afterwards.
definitely will. Yeah, which is what I'm saying as like a whole is like if you are a person that needs to like do physical manual labor all the time, energy drinks are a good shortcut, but they don't solve anything. You'll just constantly be relying on energy drinks until they don't do anything. Or you need to be able to like burn your body with the physical manual labor and like eat a shit ton of food and then have your body like over
Mhm.
time understand your new kind of routine of like you eat a shit ton of food, you work out a shit ton, you eat a shit ton of food, you work out a shit ton so that like the energy you're
Mhm.
consuming is the same as the energy you're expelling because it's all calories in calories out, right? That's what any
Yeah.
nutritionist or like bodybuilder will ever say to you is like calories in and out.
Mhm.
So eh, it's
And
life.
then you have those people that just have fucking like giga metabolisms where they like will eat like fucking 20 pies and then they're still fucking bone skinny.
Yeah, my grandma has that. It's
I
crazy.
don't have that, unfortunately.
Me neither.
Yeah,
A lot of my relatives have it, but I didn't inherit that for some reason.
well, good. I'll say this much: the problem with the metabolisms that are fast is like they're good in the like the short term, much like energy drinks, but they don't do good in the long term because so the way your metabolism
Mhm.
works is interesting because if your metabolism is a lot higher younger, it will slowly but surely like decrease because for whatever reason for humans it's the older you get, the less of things you need. So like the less sleep you need, the
Mhm.
less food you need, the less this you need. Like that always happens for like every human body. So like I
Oh yeah, it's because your body isn't burning resources on growing
yeah.
and repairing things.
Yeah, your
I
body's
see.
just not working in overdrive anymore because it's like, oh, hold on, I need to slow it down. And so the problem with having a really good metabolism, like an insane metabolism, that's what I'm talking about, not like your normal run of the mill one, is
Yeah,
you will have the mindset
people that are
of
always skinny no matter what.
yeah, you'll have the mindset of, oh, I can just eat whatever I want and everything will be fine. But by the time you get into your like
Mhm.
20s to 30s to like 35s, you'll keep eating the same shit, like the same garbage, right? The same fucking junk food, and not realize that your metabolism's working less because you just need less food just because of the nature of you living for
Mhm.
so long. It's like your body, see your body works the same way as like leveling up, where it's like it's metagamed the idea of gaining energy. So it's like, oh, I've eaten this food before. I've eaten this food plenty of times. I know how to get like every ounce of energy out of it, like fast and meticulously. So it's wasting less time burning the food, which is then burning energy from you. And it's like, I've gained so much more energy, so I might as well store it as fat. And then it keeps storing it as fat because you keep eating the same amount of food like you were fucking 13. And it's like, no, man, you really shouldn't be
Mhm.
doing that. And so when I was a kid, my metabolism was shit because of the nature of me growing like so much. Like if you ever see me out in public, I'm extremely wide. I'm 6'2". I got like fucking broad ass shoulders. Like
Goddamn.
I'm made to lift people, right? I have the farmer build, but like
Mhm.
as a kid, you're always just like fat and plump because your body needs you to be so that you can grow into this big fucking tank. So it,
Yeah.
when you're a kid, you're like, oh man, I just must be like a fat piece of shit. But it's like once you slowly get older and older, you kind of grow into your body and you're like, oh, this is why
Yeah.
my metabolism shit is because my body's made to store a bunch of energy so that I can expend a bunch. Like that's my build. Like I forget what it's
Yeah.
called. There's the three different body types, and depending on which one you have is like determines the kind of exercises you need to do. Um, but
Mhm.
for me, my build is like you have to, especially when you're exercising to like lose weight or like gain muscle, is you have to do extraneous, like long, like crazy workouts that are like an hour, 2 hours long, because that's what your body's built for. Like, there's no such thing as like how many reps you can do. It's like you have to do 100 reps. You have to do 100 of these specifically in a row without stopping, or there's just no way for your body to like burn fat naturally. Like, you're not gonna build up a sweat until you've been working nonstop for like 2 hours. Like, that's just how I'm built. But like
That is
for the normal
that is no way.
people,
That could be dangerous for some people,
yeah,
right?
it could be dangerous for most people,
Mhm.
not for people like me or like people. Not to say I'm fucking like built like Dwayne, but it's like people like The Rock or like these bodybuilders that have like really wide like builds. It's like they have to work out like this because that's the only way for them to actually even start sweating, right? I don't start sweating until like 2 hours
Well,
into
that's
like
just
intense workout.
bodybuilders in general, like regardless of their body type. If
Hmm.
you're a bodybuilder, you need to do incredibly intensive, insane workouts because if you don't, it'll just all atrophy away in like a day.
Yeah.
Like bodybuilders, like I think it was the thing about Dwayne the Rock Johnson I saw like years ago. He was like, oh yeah, if I'm not eating 8,000 calories a day, like I will drop like 8 pounds in one day
Mhm.
just from like my muscle mass atrophying away. And that was the moment where I
Damn.
realized, oh, bodybuilders are just like it's not actually healthy. It's like fucked
You
up, like
know.
fake body.
That's why the Romans Romans would think bodybuilders are disgusting because the Roman
Mm-hmm.
ideals were not necessarily like you have massive pecs or anything like that. It was like, oh, this guy's like built just perfectly enough to not be overweight but also not to be underweight,
Mm-hmm.
and he has just enough energy and just enough build to be like perfect in everything. But if they saw a bodybuilder, they'd be like, dude, this guy's gonna fucking like die on us like instantly. Like, he's gonna like collapse after like 2 hours because he needs to
Yeah,
eat so much fucking food just to like sustain this weird like tank build that he's got going on.
yeah.
He's a waste of time.
That's why
Yeah.
that's what was a big well, not like specifically. Like I always let aesthetics take precedent over like practicality, but it influenced the aesthetics in a fun way.
Hmm.
Um, in my art at least. That was a big inspiration for like what Draco's body type should look like in my story. Just the idea of it's not complete like raw practical muscle, as in like I'm not going so far to just be like, oh, his build is like a fucking lumberjack man or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted it to also not be like a bodybuilder. I wanted it to look like somewhere in between. The way I always describe it, it's like if you have like fucking All Might on one end and the Hulk on the other end, Draco's like somewhere in the middle. It looks like a believable body that would develop from being genetically engineered to be as strong as possible. So you're not getting giant rippling muscles. It's more like just a really blocky, huge, towering just wall of meat. That like I don't know, that was my design philosophy for the character. And I think it works really well because I don't know, I never get that sense of power from like, well, you do get the sense of power, but it's different from bodybuilder esque characters. So like
Mm-hmm.
Armstrong from like Full Metal Alchemist is much more like a bodybuilder character, but he also has that bubbly like vibe that works with that.
Not only that, but he like interacts with other characters that aren't bodybuilders, but they
Mhm.
have the same build as him,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like the wide, like, but they're still just as
Yes,
strong.
that like other the the big like not I don't want to say fat, but like the guy with the big
Yeah.
belly, the lumberjack looking guy. I think that the biggest inspiration for Draco was Gamaguri from Kill la Kill. If you
Really?
know what he looks like,
No. I
I'll send a
I
picture.
don't watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of anime, so
I
I
don't
can't really tell.
anymore, but I really liked Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like not a lot of
The
people like.
the only one I'm currently watching is you wanna go?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, not a people recognize that when it comes to like deadlifters. Like, people don't realize that like deadlifters have like big guts, and they're like, oh, ha ha ha, they are fat. But it's like, no, you just don't understand how like muscles work. Like, the reason their guts are so big is because that's a muscle that is designed to like lift heavy shit like constantly. So it's like, to you from an outsider looking in, it's like looking at a fucking book where it's like, oh, this book is just some fat guy. It's like, well, no. If you knew exactly what they could do, you'd be like terrified of them, right? But you just don't know that because you don't have the context for this person. And so you just see them as a fat guy, but in their circle, they're like the
Hmm.
biggest fucking like dead weightlifter in the world. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh God, I do not want to fuck with that man.
I remember that reminds me of one of the scariest videos I ever saw, which was it was some deadlifting guy. He was lifting up this gigantic thing. It was like, it was one of those ridiculous videos where it's one of those big giant. It looks like a guy who ate a cannonball, uh,
Yeah.
lifting up like 20 fucking 100-pound weights on each side of his barbell or whatever. Uh, and as he was lifting it up, blood started
Mm-hmm.
spraying out of his nose, like all over his not like
Oh god.
not like dribbling out, like
Yeah.
spewing because like his blood pressure was just so high from like the strain.
Yep.
It was
Oh
like
god.
scary.
That
That
sounds
yeah,
terrifying.
that doesn't
It
happen.
was
Yeah,
terrifying.
that doesn't happen to me on that extent, but I do have because I have just weak nostrils where they do bleed out. So like,
Hmm.
if I'm doing like a strenuous activity and maybe like the air is dry, I will definitely have like just insane like bad nosebleeds just because of the nature of like
Oh yeah, me too.
working out too much, and then it's also dry, so that doesn't help. But like, yeah, that's
Hmm.
things to like consider.
Yeah.
Like, every body has its limits. Like, even if like you're like extremely efficient at doing what it is you do, like there's always going to be things you just can't control about your body where it's like, well, after doing like a 200 like
Yeah.
deadlifts, my nose starts to bleed. It's like, well, probably shouldn't do 200 deadlifts. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like doing
It's
deadlifts. I never do them
I
because I'm
used
always terrified of breaking something. They're just not worth it.
or you want to know a fun fact about me with bloody noses?
Yeah.
Hmm.
There is a spot inside my nose and both sides, both nostrils, that if I just touch it, I will get a bloody nose instantly.
Damn.
What the
That's
fuck?
gross.
You okay?
It's like I have like a little bloody nose button.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, I never like was creative enough to realize throughout like school, I could have used that so many times to just get out of classes. Teacher, I'm having a bloody nose. I have to go to the nurse's office.
You just
I
skip
just
Yeah,
never
class.
but
thought to do it.
you can't just use it every time. They're gonna suspect something.
Tom's poking his
Well,
nose
who cares if they
again.
suspect something? There's blood coming out of my nose.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Yeah.
It's
I
a
guess that kid has a lot of bloody noses.
it's a pain in the ass, especially when you work in like fields where you have to be like sanitary and shit, which is why I never went into like the medical field. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just a bitch.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This actually leads into a great story. One time, because I just had bloody noses all the time naturally too. One time, I started having a bloody nose, and I was like, "Oh shit, my nose is bleeding," and it's like it was a really bad one, like a lot of blood,
Oh
fucking
shit.
pouring out. Um, and I was like, "Teacher, do you have like tissues? No. Do you have paper towels? No. Okay, I guess I'll just go to the nurse's office." So I cupped my hands underneath my face, leaned forward really far, and tried to just catch all the blood as it was coming out. Um, that didn't work very well because I
No.
was trying to catch blood that was falling out of my face.
Yeah.
So first of all, my entire face, just underneath my nose, was covered in blood. Just like it looked like I had gotten like my face punched in
Yeah.
for like 3 hours, just
It
coated.
looked like you
My
ate a
hands
girl
were
out on
also just
the time of the month.
completely covered in blood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, shut up.
And the worst thing of all to me, I left a trail of droplets of blood all the way from one side of the school all the way to the other and across 2 floors because I was on the second floor of the building.
No,
So you could just trace my path by just the blood droplets that
there wasn't like
followed
a
me.
bathroom on the second floor.
No, I just went to the fucking nurse's office
You didn't go to the
and
bathroom
left
like
a
a
That's a
trail
little
of
man.
blood
blunt.
behind
Yeah.
me. No, I went to the nurse because I was bleeding everywhere.
Stupid. You should have went to the
It's
bathroom.
kind of stupid. But at
But
least
it
you're
was
fine
just
now.
like a fucking disaster. It was just so funny. I just like left this. I was like, some fucking janitor is gonna have to clean up all my blood in like a
Yeah.
straight line across the building.
You didn't do dumb shit
It's
like
kind of
me,
funny,
Tom, where it's
but
like, I wonder what the smell of lead smells like. So you smell like you just sharpened a pencil and you smell it, but then you poke your nose on accident. You get a bloody nose.
I have done that. I
Damn.
have done
oh,
stuff
thank
like
God I
that,
never
but
did that.
not that in particular. I've never like shoved a pencil up my nose because I'm not fucking
You're not
Peter
special
Griffin.
eds. Yeah.
Uh, but what I have done is like if I have like a hard because I work on like construction sites and shit, my boogers are just fucking. They're like
Yeah.
actual rocks, just because they're sucking up so much like dust
Sawdust and shit.
and
Yeah.
fucking like smoke and shit. And sometimes I'll get like a really uncomfortable one somewhere like deep up there that I can't just get out with my finger. So I have these tiny little tweezers that I'll use
Oh
sometimes,
my god.
and that works great. It'll clear me out really good. But every once in a while, I'll like accidentally move it too far to like the left or right, uh, and just poke it, and then I have like a bloody
Have you
nose.
ever heard of blowing
Luckily,
your nose, Tom?
it doesn't work. I only do that when it just I can't blow it out.
Uh huh.
But what I will say is that those bloody noses nowadays they last for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a tiny little bit of blood. Put tissue on it. Now it's done. When I was little, that would have lasted like an hour. I
Mm.
have had like 2-3 hour bloody noses before when I was like really young.
Jesus.
Speaking of bloody noses, Tom, you know who gives me a bloody nose on the regs, Tom? You know who?
Who?
Our special
Your
guest
boyfriend?
today, Matthew. And so I was wondering if you could, you know,
My man.
shut
What
up,
the
Tom.
fuck?
Matthew. All right, that's his name. Don't
Uh-huh.
wear it out.
Uh-huh.
Plug your shit, Matthew. All right, that was the lead-in, but Tom had to ruin it.
What?
Oh, Tom. Okay. Let me
Okay.
describe it again. So I was like, you know who else gives me bloody noses is Matthew with his art. That's what I was getting at, Tom. But you had to ruin it. So now all this is ruined, and the podcast is over. So yeah.
Basically, we want you to tell us what's your Rate My Poo account called.
Yeah. What's your Newgrounds? What's your Rate Your Poo? What's your
Yeah.
Oh, that means I can finally say this.
What's your
Hey
grinder?
guys, you can follow me on mathieux05.newgrounds.com or on Twitter at twitter.com/mathieux05 or mathieux05_art for my safe for work profile. And that's pretty much all I use.
Dude, that's
All right,
that's
get
cringe.
this
That's
guy out of
fucking
here.
cringe.
Get this guy
dude,
off
you're
the
the first
stage.
fucking guest to do that kind of bullshit in our town, in our neck of the woods. We
Dude,
put a
you're
link,
plugging
dude.
your
Why the
shit
hell
like
would you
that?
think you could plug your shitty art when
You
we do
came
that
on this
for
show
you?
just so you could promote yourself.
Jesus fucking Christ. The
You
the
never even
cojones
cared
on this
about the
guy.
sanctity of the show.
I'm done. I'm fuming. Tom,
Get
I'm
this
Uh,
done.
guy
I'm
out of
going away.
here.
Fuck this.
I
Fuck this. I'm going. Fuck this. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Look what you've
I
done.
think I think
All
it's
right, now that he's gone, do you want to be the new co-host? Because he's been giving me a lot of. He hasn't paid me in like 6
brother.
months, and he's like,
Ooh, I'm the ghost of
he's been trying
podcast
to like.
present. I've come to steal all of your oats
Who's this?
and views.
Oh, oh no!
I'm the ghost
Get
of
the
podcast present.
ghosting.
I've come to
No.
haunt you during the
Oh,
present
shit.
recording of your podcast.
All right.
Oh
Hey,
no.
could you go? Do you know where Spark went?
He left the building
Well,
in such a rush. And here's what your future
Could you
looks
go
like
get him?
without him, which is just nothing.
You don't know the future. You're present.
Well,
Ghost. Could you go get
the
Spark?
present. Well, it's a little complicated because the future is always to come, but the present is
Sir?
now.
Sir, could you?
No.
I'm not
Yeah.
interested in what you're saying, sir.
I'll go.
Go get it.
Could you imagine saying that to someone? I'm not interested in what you're saying.
Especially to a guest to a podcast. Yeah. Like imagine inviting someone to a podcast and when he starts speaking, you just say, "No, I'm not interested." Anyway,
Yeah. No, I don't want to hear about that. That was actually. I want to bring that up. That was something really funny that one.
Is that
there's
French
this-
fuck gone?
this one
What? What are you saying, Tom?
oh my fucking god.
Spark, this is a story I wanted to tell real quick because
Okay.
we were joking about. Could you imagine fucking saying that to someone? I'm not interested in what you're saying. I'm not interested. Can you just go get the other guy?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
There's this podcaster where his thing is like, he will give people like sound. He'll have people who like fucked up and squandered a lot of their money, and he'll have them come on his podcast and try to give them like sound financial advice. So we're not talking, I'm a finance guru trying to sell you my course. It's more like, hey, you should stop spending so much on this thing. Like I know you like this thing, but you probably spend too much on it. You should get like an S&P 500 going.
Are you
so that you can,
mocking me for
accumulate
spending
things over time.
$20,000 on Markiplier's OnlyFans? Because I don't regret that for a second.
Of course
Did you
not. That's a
actually
sound.
do that?
That's sound purchase.
That's legal tender.
But so what happened was that one of the people that guy had on was a person who was an investment guru, who fucking based his investments on astrology, as in star signs.
That's a
And
good
he
sign.
This sounds good so far.
suddenly, like, so he talked about, so this guy, this astrology guy, he explained like, yeah, I lost $400,000 because of my my investment strategy, where I turned $20,000 into $400,000, and then I turned $400,000 into negative. Like now I'm in debt because of using astrology. But
Yeah.
at some point throughout the interview, he revealed that, he's not just a guy who used astrology for investing. He's a guru and he's trying to sell his course. And the host of the show, like, so the guy was like, just so people can find me, I'm doing this thing. And he started going, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not letting you promote on your thing. No plugging your fucking shitty investment course. I'm not putting a link in the description. You're here to get advice. You're not here to peddle your fucked up, like, astrology investment course. It was so funny.
That's great.
Um,
Oh my god. I wish I could see that, honestly. That sounds
It
funny.
was clipped in one of the recent CoffeeZilla videos. Let me send
Coffee
it.
I see.
It wasn't actually. It's on his second channel. He has a channel called Voidzilla now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can
Mhm.
find it.
Well, I think to wrap up the podcast, Tom, we should probably do a sync test because we didn't do that. So
Yes, I was gonna mention that. Yeah.
So,
I see
you
By
this.
the
don't
way,
have to sync, by the way, French.
should we also
Oh.
put Matt plugging himself at the start of the podcast? Should we just copy and paste that as a cold open?
No. Also, hi, Tay.
I don't know.
No.
Is that how you pronounce your name, Tay?
I'm just saying it
Hey.
would be good.
You're someone I
I assume
really
it's
like,
Thai,
Tay,
it's
which you
Thai.
probably don't realize this, but I remember you, so don't fucking. I know who you are. Not to sound fucking
No,
morose. I like you. Anyways, let's do
I
a
know.
sync test.
I know.
Hmm?
I know. I know.
Oh,
Tahan from another server. He's great.
does Matt also have to
No,
sync?
no,
Do I have to?
no, you don't.
Okay.
All right, this is just for Tom's audio because you cut out so much. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna have to use
Ooh.
your audio. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Do you want to do one more? Or are you good?
I didn't do it because you were cutting out.
Great. All right,
So do that one
again.
more time.
1, 2, 3. Did you get it that time?
You cut out again. Why are you only cutting out while you're saying 1, 2, 3? One more time.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
All
Anything.
right. Hopefully that
Okay,
one was
now-
good enough.
All right, I'm gonna
Now you
stop
fucking-
recording.